Zone.
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. It's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for a new episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and today's video is going to be a horror movie review. This is a movie that I just watched over the weekend. I watched it off of Amazon Prime. I had been looking for the movie Leatherface, which I was initially told was going to be released on Amazon Prime, and then I found out I think it was only released on DirecTV, so I wasn't able to see that movie yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it and judging it on my own. But this was another film that I was really looking forward to, and just recently found out that they had made. It is the sequel to The Houses October Built, and it's the sequel, The Houses That October Built Too. I was really excited about it because I really liked this film. A few people have problems with this film, but I really liked it because I love Halloween. I love anything to do with the month of October, and I've always noticed, like, over the last couple of years that there are these extreme haunts, these like haunted house attractions where they really push the patrons to the breaking point. But it was always interesting to find out what would happen if a documentary crew kind of went in and videotaped these things, and what happens if something actually turns out to be a lot more sinister than it initially appears to be. That's one thing I really liked about this film, and I really felt that this was a really good found footage kind of style narrative film, and it worked well for me, and I picked it up as soon as I had a chance to on DVD, and I was really excited to see what the second film would be about. Now, in order to talk about the second film, it might be considered spoiler territory, but I have no other way of doing that without talking a little bit about the plot of this film and how the original film ended up in terms of how it concluded. So like I said, I have spoilers in the title, spoilers in the description. There's nothing else I can do now because I need to talk about this film. Just to give you a little bit of a understanding about what the film deals with. So pretty much at the end of the first film, the group of people, so you have Brandy, Zach, Mikey, and Bobby, they're all pursuing what is called the Blue Skeleton, and they, at the end of the first film, are buried alive, and that's pretty much how the film ends. And it's a very bleak and scary ending, and really kind of left you like, you know, almost like, you know, something like a Blair Witch or a Quarantine or something like that. Just really got to you. When this film picks up the second one, you find out that all of that wasn't real. That it did happen, but it was part of the extreme nature of the haunt. But this didn't really sit so well with the character of Brandy, who was really traumatized by it. But the whole thing has sort of given this group of people this notoriety within, like, I guess you want to say, in the intranet online space. So they want to go back out and do more of the kind of stuff they were doing with going to these extreme haunts and things like that. But they have to lure Brandy back because she was really traumatized by the whole situation of the Blue Skeleton and being buried alive and things like that. So it does lessen the impact of the original film because the original film ended such a bleak way that you find out that the whole thing was just part of the whole, you know, extreme nature of that Blue Skeleton. I kept thinking as I was watching the film that it would have been so much better if Brandy was the only one that did survive. I think that would have made a little bit more sense than having the entire group survive. But the cast consists of the same people from the original. They all go by the original names. You have Brandy Schaefer, who plays Brandy. You have Zach Andrews, who plays Zach. Mikey Rowe, who plays Mikey. Bobby Rowe is Bobby. Bobby Rowe was also the writer and director, and Zach Andrews was another one of the writers. And in this film, in the second one, they're the sort of the holy grail of what they're going towards and how the movie, what the extreme haunt is in this one, is something called Hellbent. And that's something they keep seeing, like, signs and things for through the course of, you know, going to these other extreme attractions throughout the film. My feeling about the film is it was a bit of a mess. It's unfortunate because I really was looking forward to it because I really, like I said, I really loved the first one. There's a lot of people that are just saying it sucks, it's bullshit, and all this stuff. And I do agree that it does take the impact off of the original film because you find out that it was all a ruse. It wasn't real. That these people are safe And yes, that does take away the impact. But I kept thinking as this one was going on that it was almost like, well, they did that to them thinking, you know, like the whole thing with the blue skeleton, because the blue skeleton is kind of peppered through the film where you realize he's still there and things are still happening. And I was like going, well, is it just sort of a ruse to sort of really get them at the end of this one? It ends up being a very disappointing ending. And I think that I was kind of on board until the last maybe 15 minutes of the film, and then I really was disappointed with how this film wrapped up. It made no sense. And it was really poorly executed. And it's unfortunate because I really liked the cast. I liked all of the people in it. I really just... I don't get why this was the route they went with it. I really think it would have been more interesting if they... You know, like I said, maybe there have been 1 or 2 survivors, but the other ones had actually perished. I don't know. It's like, again, you know, what would have gotten them back out on the road doing the haunt tour? I mean, like I said, I can only go based on my own, you know, take on it, but, you know, it is a disappointing film. I don't think it's a complete piece of shit, but again, it does lessen the impact of the original film. It doesn't have that scare factor, that unknown factor that the original had so well. And this is coming from the same people that did the original, so I think they had kind of milked all their ideas with that first one. No disrespect, I think they, you know, there's some great visuals in the film, some great camera work. I like the cast. I just felt like it was almost like a replay of the first one without the impact. So if I had to give this one a rating on my scale, I would give it 1.5 skulls. So yeah, that is my review of The Houses That October Built Part 2. Like I said, unfortunately, it wasn't a great film. It was a pretty disappointing film. Probably the most disappointing film for me so far this year. But if anybody else has the same feelings that I did or would like to share their thoughts on the film, please leave them in the comment section below. Always enjoy hearing what other people think about these horror movie reviews that I do. And as always, thanks so much for watching Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy. Stay scared. Peace.